Today we are making some DIY vintage-inspired home decor on a Dollar Tree budget. Let's get started. I found this little tin container. I'm not really sure what kind of metal it's made out of. It's some type of soft metal. I found this on clearance at Hobby Lobby for, I want to say like 62 cents or something. And I thought it would be really fun to make over. And so I'm cleaning it with some rubbing alcohol just to make sure that there's nothing on it. And then I realized that there was some sticker residue, so I'm using some orange oil, essential oil, to take that off, and then I'll clean it again with the rubbing alcohol so that we have a fresh surface. I'm getting to the bottom of my paint, and so it is a little extra thick, but it is okay. I'm making it work. I'm using my chippy brush from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to pounce this all over this container. Now, I decided to paint the top and bottom separately, and I had reason for it initially, and I don't remember what it was. So if I realized in the beginning that I was going to just leave it together for display, this is just simply a decor piece, it would have made more sense to put it together first, but this is what I did, so that's the footage you're gonna get. And I'm just stippling this on. It gives it a slightly, not like a crazy textured look, but a little bit, and it eliminates any brush strokes. So I'm going to put 2 coats all together on that. I did dry it in between with my heat gun, being careful not to have the heat too hot because this is, metal after all. So I'm going to give this a couple coats of white paint by Waverly, and then I wanted to give this a good coat of Mod Podge. Now my thinking in this was that when I go to put the lid on and off, I don't want the paint to chip off. That was good thinking. However, it was also a little bit of a flawed thought. Once that was dry and I attempted to put the lid on, the paint and the Mod Podge made it a little difficult to get it on. It did keep it from chipping. I mean, eventually it chipped because I'm like ramming this on there. But it basically did prevent it from chipping, without brute force. So I got it on eventually, and I'm putting more Mod Podge basically at this point to just glue the lid on. And I'm like, I should have just done that from the beginning because I am not planning on using this for anything practical. This is just a cute little decor piece. I'm going for a vintage inspired look, wanting to make some things that look like they might be vintage. And so just bear with me, stay with me, I should say. I mean, I guess bear with me. If this is rough for you, then you might be bearing with me. But stay with me and see how we do this. So I have this transfer that a friend gave to me. I believe it was an IOD transfer, but I'm not for certain. And I trimmed off some pieces that we're going to still use, but just to make this a little bit easier and kind of space out the transfer. So I'm starting from the top and had that centered how I wanted it. And then I'm going to hold this. Some of this gets a little bit out of frame for a moment, but don't worry, I come back. And I am using my fingernail or a popsicle stick to transfer this. And I'm wanting it to be continuous, flowing down over the piece. Once again, should have just done the whole thing together from the start, but it's okay. We made it work. I am being very careful to hold it in place from the top so that as the side pops up, I can easily lay it back down and line everything up well. So it is a curved surface, so I'm just doing a little section at a time when it comes to this side piece here. At some point I do cut little slits in it with my scissors. I don't know if I end up showing that or not because this did take, it wasn't hard. The transferred super easy, but it did take a little bit of time. So we'll just skipping ahead, burnishing that in, taking that top sheet and just really rubbing it in to make sure all of the surfaces are attached. And then I'm taking the pieces that I trimmed off and trying to make them just place them where I thought they looked good, whether it was looking like it was continuous from the top piece or just somewhere totally separate on its own. I'm just trying to fill it in and space it out the way that I like. I do like actual old decor, but sometimes that can be hard to find in the thrift stores or it's expensive, or maybe not even thrift stores. Thrift stores doesn't necessarily have a lot of old stuff. You kind of have to go to like antique malls. And so I thought it'd be fun to just make some stuff look old. So once this was all done, my transfer was on, we are going to make this look old. So we are going to put on some antique wax, and this was really good because I had the Mod Podge on prior. It didn't get too dark. I did put on a lot of it and I let it sit for a second before I wiped it off because I didn't want it to be too light. Anyways, I'm brushing that on, and this is the antique wax by Waverly, and then brushing or wiping that off with a paper towel afterwards, and then kind of let it sit and then really buff it in. So I worked in sections, and then I ended up just grabbing a couple paper towels to, make sure I was wiping that back. And I really, really like how this came out. This ultimately was exactly the look I was going for, which is so fun when that happens, right? When things actually work out the way that you intended. But let me know what you guys think about this. It's just going to be a part of like a vignette. Sorry, I forgot that word for a second. And I just think it's adorable. Let me know what you guys think. For this project, I have this little, I was going to say wood. It's not actually like real wood, but this little bird decor piece from Dollar General. It was $1, but I got it half off, I believe. I got it marked down something. Using my heat gun to get the sticker off, we are going to make this into a double-sided piece. And I have made over this decor piece before, not this exact one that we're taking apart right now, but I bought multiple of them. So I pulled off the flower, and then that had some metal sticking up, and so I just hammered it in because I could not get it out. And then we're going to take the paper off the other side. I will do that briefly with you. Take off the top layer, wet it down, place a paper towel, repeat as necessary, scraping it in between. There you go. Now it's done. Now I'm going to paint this whole thing with some white paint. Once again, I'm going to be stippling this on, and I'm going to do the edges even though they were white just to kind of clean them up a little bit. And then I'm going to do the front and the back. And that, I believe, only took one coat, but you're going to do whatever you got to do for your own piece. Y'all know that. So I have this transfer. This is from the Dollar Tree, and these are in French. And so I did look them up because I was like, what am I putting on here? Let's not put something we don't want to put on. But it said, between two hearts that love each other, there is no need for words. And I thought that was sweet. So we are going to place that on here and just rub that on. These transfers are great from Dollar Tree. The only ones I don't like from Dollar Tree are the gold ones. They're kind of a nightmare. But the other ones are great. Never had any problems with them. So these are really fun and pretty. So lots of places you can get transfers, or you can do stencil or decoupage some paper or something like that. But this is what I have, and I am crafting my stash, y'all. I have got so much stuff. So we are going to transfer this on, and this is it's for, well, I cut out a couple other little pieces, like some butterflies or whatever that were on that sheet, and but I didn't want to fill up the whole thing, I was like, let's not overdo it. You see, I have some other pieces cut out there that I thought about using, but no, we will save them for another piece in the future. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much, and I do appreciate your support. And it lets me know that you like my video, but also lets YouTube know. They're like, oh, people are digging this video. We should show it to more people. That's how it works. So for the other side, we're going to do some decoupage. I put some Mod Podge down, and then I'm using a wet paintbrush, just a little bit of water to tear up this music. I only did it because I wanted more words on it, and the way it was spaced out, I wasn't going to get as many words. So I'm just doing it. I tried this little method, didn't like it. But the key is to wet it with just water and a paintbrush, and that makes it easy to tear. This is also going to give us some natural tear lines. This is just something I like to do. I love to use like music in my decor. This is a hymn. I cannot remember the title of it, but you can use old sheet music, or you could print off some. You can also use there is like some sheet music. Doesn't have like words usually on it, but like at Hobby Lobby. So anyway, once that is on, you just place the back onto the dried Mod Podge parchment paper. Sorry, I skipped right over that, but some of you may not know. Parchment paper on top of the paper to protect it, and then an iron with no steam. I was using a mini heat press, and that will just reactivate the Mod Podge. And then I trimmed off the excess with a sanding block. Now, we're making this look old again. I did the antique wax right on the paper, so it's super dark and doesn't wipe back very much. If you don't like that, I would recommend either putting some Mod Podge down first, or you could mix this. And my friend suggested this to me afterwards. I was chatting about it with Kendra from Late Night Creations, and she's like, if you have some of that Waverly clear wax, you probably could mix that in with it. I'm like, oh, that would have been a good idea. But I actually really liked how it came out in the end, but just something to note. If you don't want it to be as dark, then just put something else there. It makes it easier to wipe off, like I did with the canister. But I'm going to do this on the front and the back and all of the edges. Once again, I like this little old look. I was going for that more vintage antique look. If you don't, then of course you're gonna not do this step. But I love how this came out, and it wiped back more over the transfer so you can still see the words. Not that most people in my life, I don't think, can speak or can read French anyway. But it's adorable, and I love how it came out. So let me know what you guys think about this one. This wood house came from Hobby Lobby in a pack of 3, and I got them on clearance forever ago, and I've been wanting to do something with it. So I finally decided to do something with one of them. And we're going to give this a coat of paint. I'm just using white paint, but I wanted the roof to be different, so I am being careful to keep the white paint off of the roof lines. And I'm giving a very, very slight texture. So while the paint is white, nope, it's white the whole time. While the paint is wet, I am just taking a crumpled up, this is just a brown paper bag, crumpled up, and pressing it in. And it's kind of hard to see. I try to show you at the end. It's a little hard to see, but it gave a very gentle texture. So we're going to paint all of the sides white, and then we will stain the top with some antique wax. I did want to say, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Leanne, and I like to share budget-friendly DIYs on this channel. I tend to go for a little bit more rustic in my approach with my decor, but sometimes I throw in some brightly colored stuff. But of course, you guys are here for inspiration. So do whatever colors you like, whatever style matches your style. But if you're new and you're not yet subscribed, or maybe you're old, not old in age, if you've been around a while and you have seen my videos before and you are not yet subscribed, please do so. You know, here's the thing with YouTube. They may show you my videos even if you're not subscribed, but if I post a video that they're like, I don't think they're going to like it, they may not show it to you. So subscribe. It costs you nothing. It's not a big deal. I also recommend not just watching from your home feed on YouTube. Watch from your subscription feed, because you cannot count on YouTube showing you your subscribed channels on your home feed. Words are hard sometimes. Okay. I said food, not feed. Maybe because I need dinner. All right, so we got our top stained with some antique wax. And then I went into my little drawer of scraps. These are things I have pulled off of other projects, usually from the Dollar Tree. I did have there on the left the part of a wooden ruler, which would be great if I had trimmed that down. But I ended up using this piece. This came off of one of those, like, I don't know, one of those, like, I think it was one of those Christmas tree wood box things from Dollar Tree. I don't know. But I sanded it down. I actually ended up cutting off a little bit of it because I needed a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to paint it with some antique wax on the edges and one side. This is a little door for our house. Now, if you don't have this, a big popsicle stick would work as well. But I save everything I take off of my projects, and you never know what you might use them for. So we are just going to get some antique wax on here. I am not doing anything crazy with this house. I'm just adding a couple of cute little features, such as I saw this in like random photos on Pinterest that like didn't belong to anything that I could find. And I was like, a little screw would be a really adorable chimney. So I found a black screw, and that was just like something we had at the house. And this was pretty soft wood. I didn't want to go all the way. I didn't want to go too far because obviously it's a chimney. I wanted it to stick up, but I also wasn't sure if this was like a solid piece or not. Anyways, I just screwed that in, and I think it's adorable. And then I'm going to hot glue the little door on the front. And I thought about painting some windows, looking for some like inspiration and some pictures and trying to freehand it. But I guess I just wasn't feeling that ambitious. So that is all I did for this. You can kind of see, not here, in a second, you can kind of see the texture. There it is, a little bit. And it's very subtle, but I liked it. And I thought this would be a cute addition to a vignette. And it just looks older, which to me makes it look more vintage because vintage stuff is older. Let me know what you guys think about this cute little house. So I don't know where this piece came from. I think a friend gave it to me, and it's got some like grid ruler thing on one side. We're using the other side, but you can use a scrap piece of wood, whatever you've got. We are going to do some crackle method, and so I'm taking some white school glue and just squirting it all over. It was, the nozzle was a little bit clogged. So I'm looking like I'm putting a lot of effort in here, which I feel like it shouldn't be, but that's okay. We're gonna spread this out. Now I don't know. I don't know what the right way is. I see people do things and I just do what I want and hope that it works. And it worked. So I left some places thicker than others because I feel like that gives you the variety of the crackle. I might be wrong. I also tried to put this on the edge to get some crackle there. That didn't work as great, but that's okay. I did place this on top of some paint bottles just so that the edges were available to me. I dried it a little bit with the heat gun, not a lot. Glue will get tacky with the heat, and I've heard that you can do the glue dry or wet when you do this method. So I kind of went in between. I was a little nervous to go all the way. I'm taking my paint, which is a little tricky to do because it's thick, because it's at the end of the bottle. So you have to press a little harder to get it to transfer from the paintbrush. So I'm just doing small strokes because you're not supposed to go over the glue over and over. And then I don't know, I did my best on the edges. The crackle didn't really work on the edges, but I didn't do like a thorough coat anyway, so it kind of all blends. But the crackle on the top was great, and I like that. And again, I'm going for the vintage inspired look, and so vintage stuff is often crackled and old, and that's what we're going for here. So I then wanted to seal in the crackle paints here, and I went a little heavy on the Mod Podge. Actually, I didn't because I ended up getting more out, but I didn't want it dripping all over the place. So we're going to coat the edges and the top with a good thick coat of Mod Podge. I don't even know if that's really necessary, but my thought is when I'm putting stuff on this, I don't think I told you what we're doing. We're making a little like tray, a little riser. I didn't want it to come off. So my thought with this video as I was going along, I had those first two done, and then I decided to do this, and I was like, oh, you know what? We're going to make a tray for the pieces, and we're going to make a little vintage vignette. So I have these wooden discs. I think these ones are from the Dollar Tree. The other ones I showed you there were from Hobby Lobby. And surprisingly, these were all about the same height. So if yours are not, you could probably sand them down. You want them to be the same height because you don't want it to wobble, which is why I tested it out first, kind of set the board on top, and I'm like, is this going to wobble? It didn't. I don't know what kind of miracle happened that I had 4 that were like the exact same, but it worked out. Use whatever you got to make some little feet. There's lots of things. Hobby Lobby has a great wood selection. And here it is. Look at that crackle, guys. Oh my gosh, I love it. If you don't love the crackle, then you're not going to love this. But I do, and that's what I did. And that's it for my little riser. Let me know what you guys think about this one. So now I'm wanting to build more pieces for this little vignette. And I have this key in my stash that I think Kendra gave me. I mentioned her earlier. And I just wanted it to look a little bit older. I don't have a lot of fancy product to do that. So I just went in with a paint. So I'm doing like a brown, a black, and then a little bit of orange and yellow. And then I like dried it before I went back in with some more dark color. The little bit of the orange, once you've muted it down with the dark color, comes through like a little bit of rust. And I kept stippling on all the different paints until I liked it. There's other ways that you could make it look like rustier, and I might do that at some point, but this is kind of what I went with. I've got more keys in my stash, so more to come, I suppose. And I did seal it in with some Mod Podge to make sure that the paint wouldn't chip off of the metal key, but I do like how it looks. I don't know if you can tell the difference, but probably a before and after right back to back would have been good, but let me know what you think. Up next, I have shared these with you before. These are some paper doilies from the Dollar Tree in like their party section. And I was going to use a real doily that I got a while back, and I was going to stain it, but it was too big for this piece. So I am gently crumpling this up because the edges are a little bit fragile. And the way that we're using this, I don't think you can tell that it's paper. It's not going to be drapey, but I'm not draping it out of like a basket or anything. So I kind of think I like it. Well, you guys can let me know what you think. But I wanted to stain it, but I didn't want it to be too dark. So I spritzed my paintbrush, and then I spritzed the paper carefully, right? So the paper is going to tear it when it gets wet if you're not careful. So I'm doing this, brushing this on, and then I'm drying it with my heat gun. And then I decided it was not looking dark enough. I'm very carefully lifting this up. I mean, very careful. And then I went in with this was a little less watered down, so I'm gonna go in and make it darker. I didn't want it to be splotchy. We're just basically staining this paper, but I wanted to share it because I wasn't sure how it would work. I'm like, is it gonna take to it? Is it just gonna look like I painted it? Anyways, but spritzing the paper did help a little bit, and then I kept my brush pretty damp, and yeah, I think I like it. I like it. I do want to use like a real doily, and I love that in that vintage decor, but like I said, the one I have is too big, and I felt like it was going to be wasted here, and so I just went for this paper one, and we'll do the bigger one another day. Just being very careful to dry it, and it dries pretty quickly. So yeah, in case you didn't know that you could do this, you can, and you should if you like it. Here's how it came out, and because it was small enough to fit completely on the riser, you can't really tell that it's paper because it doesn't need to hang over at all. And then I put everything together. I added a little bit of greenery and a candle, but I just think it's a really fun vignette. I do enjoy how this one came out. Let me know what you guys think about it down below. Thank you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.